Good morning, students. Well, I think chapter number one, that is crop production and management, is over, and even we have solved a few questions from the exercise. The remaining questions from that exercise, we'll be getting it shortly with the PDF files, right? So now we'll switch on to chapter number two, that is microorganisms. Chapter number two, microorganisms. The word itself states that microorganisms means the organisms which are having micro in size. Micro means small. So the world is full of organisms. We see some huge organisms and we see some tiny organisms, and there are few very tiny organisms which cannot be seen by our naked eyes. Alright. So the organisms which can be seen only under microscope are known as microorganisms. Is this clear? So organisms which can be seen only under microscope, those kind of organisms are said to be microorganisms or microbes. We can call these organisms as microorganisms, or in simply short, we can call them as microbes. And remember, these microorganisms are going to survive in extreme conditions. In extreme conditions, like too cold, ice cold area, then extreme hot conditions also. Alright, then we'll come across the word called microbiology. What is that? It is microbiology. What do you mean by microbiology? It is the study of microorganisms. So it is the study of, it's part of science. It is a branch of science which deals with the study of microorganisms. Then it is called as microbiology. So the science which deals with the study of microorganisms is known as microbiology. Means this microbiology is, it is about studying only microorganisms. The science which studies only about microorganisms, for that we call it as microbiology. Alright. There are some organisms which are going to be helpful for human beings, and there are some microorganisms which are going to cause harm for us. And there is another word called pathogen. We come across another word called pathogen. What are these pathogens? These are the disease causing microbes. These are disease causing microorganisms. These are disease causing microorganisms. For that we call them as pathogen. Then how to show that there is a presence of microorganism in the air? How to show the presence of microorganisms in the air? First thing, we all know that we will be having bread, right? We will be having bread. What we have to do? We have to take a slice of bread and keep it in a warm place, Let it be there for 2 days. After few days, there will be a patch grown on that slice of the bread. Alright, there will be a grayish patch which is going to grow on that slice of the bread. Then what we have to do, with the help of a needle, we have to take only that grayish patch out of that bread slice. So out of that bread slice, we have to take only the grayish patch with the help of a needle, and then we have to put it on a glass slide. After that, we have to view, we have to have a glance with the help of a microscope. Then we will get the organism there. That is nothing but the fungi which is growing on it. Alright, we call it as bread mold. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ. ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಒಂದು ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಆ ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ಸ್ಲೈಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ವಾರ್ಮ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು 2-3 ದಿನ ಆದ್ಕೂಡಲೇ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಗ್ರೇಯಿಶ್ ಕಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಬೆಳೀತದೆ. ಆ ಗ್ರೇಯಿಶ್ ಕಲರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಏನಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಚನ್ನಷ್ಟೇ ಒಂದು ಸೂಜಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಆ ಸೂಜಿ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಆ ಗ್ರೇಯಿಶ್ ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಅನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ಒಂದು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಆ ಸ್ಲೈಡನ್ನು ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನೋಡಬೇಕು. ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಫಂಗೈ ಅನ್ನೋದೊಂದು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಆರ್ಗನಿಸಮ್ ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಶೋಸ್ ದಟ್ the microorganisms are present in the air, because we did nothing to that bread slice, just we kept it in the warm place where there is some air. Alright, the next, how to show the presence of microorganisms in the water. So water ಒಳಗೆ microorganism ಅದ ಅಂತಂದು ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. We have to take a drop of water, we have to take few drops of water from the pond. So collect some water from the pond and then few drops of that water, collected water, take that and put it on a glass slide, and after putting it on a glass slide we have to observe it under a microscope. Then we will find microorganisms in that pond water. We can see those microorganisms are floating in that water. Alright, what we did, we took some water from the pond. As we collected some water from the pond, out of that collected water, take few drops of water and put it on a glass slide. After putting it on a glass slide, we have to observe it under a microscope. Then we will find there are microorganisms which are floating in that drops of water. So this shows that there is presence of microorganisms in the water. Alright, then next, coming to types of microorganisms. Types of microorganisms. Then first we have bacteria. Then fungi, then algae, then protozoa, and then we have virus. This is clear. These 5 are types of microorganisms that we are going to study. So coming with first one, it is about bacteria. So first is about bacteria. Actually this bacteria is plural form. This bacteria is plural form. Then what is the singular form of this bacteria? It is bacterium. It is bacterium. It is bacterium. These bacteria are simplest microorganisms. These are simplest microorganisms. So these are the simplest microorganisms, and these are unicellular. These are unicellular means these are single-celled organisms. Single-celled organism. For that we call it as unicellular. Whereas this multicellular means that is made up of two or more than two cells. That is multicellular. Here it is unicellular means uni means single. That is why it is single-celled organism. Alright. This bacteria is the plural form, whereas it's a singular form is bacterium. It is the simplest microorganisms we find, and then it is made up of unicellular organism. Means it is made up of only one single cell. And we find them in different shapes, like rod shape. These are of different shapes. That is rod shape, then spherical, then comma type, and the last one is spiral shape. Spiral shape. So these microorganisms are found, that is bacteria. This bacteria is going to be found in all these types of shapes. That is rod shape, spherical shape, then comma type, and the last one is spiral shape. Then what are the examples of all these types of shapes? The examples are, for rod shape it is bacillus. Then for spherical shape it is coccus. Alright. And then for this comma type it is Vibrio, and for this spiral it is Sprillium. Sprillium. Fine. So these are the examples of different shapes of those bacteria. For rod shaped bacteria, example is Bacillus. For spherical shaped, the example is Coccus. And for comma type, that is for comma shaped, called as comma shaped. For comma shaped, it is Vibrio, and for spiral shaped, it is Sprillium. So these are about shapes and its examples for this bacteria. Almost all kind of this bacteria are invisible to our eyes. Means these are not seen to our naked eyes. It is only we have to use microscope. Microscope is an instrument which is used to see the tiny objects. So here, as these microorganisms, as this bacteria are not visible to us, we have to take the help of microorganism, and then we have to view this. Right? The next, it is algae. Again. Right? And singular form of this is alga. Correct. Singular form of this is alga. These are simple and plant-like organism. These are simple and plant-like organism. So some of these algae are unicellular, and whereas some are multicellular. I discussed earlier that unicellular means it is single organism, single cell. And the algae which is unicellular is example Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas. Whereas for multicellular, it is Spirogyra. Multicellular means more than two cells. That is why it is said as multicellular. So the example is Spirogyra. Alright. These are found in water. These algae are found in water. They are having chlorophyll in them. As they have chlorophyll in them, they can prepare their own food. So as they are having chlorophyll in them, they can prepare their own food. So this is about algae. Algae is the plural form, whereas its singular form is alga, right? These are simple and plant-like organisms. These are unicellular as well as multicellular. Means these are there are some single-celled organisms here, and there are few multicellular. Means more than two cells combined and form one organism. For that we call it as multicellular. And for unicellular we have example like Chlamydomonas, and whereas for multicellular we have example like Spirogyra. As these algae are found in water, they are having chlorophyll in them and they can prepare their own food. So this is about algae. Next, third one, it is protozoa. Protozoa is plural form, whereas singular form of this protozoa is protozoan. So singular form of this protozoa is protozoan. These are unicellular organisms. These are unicellular organisms, and these cannot prepare their food. Cannot prepare their food. So these protozoa are unicellular and they cannot prepare their own food. As they cannot prepare their own food, they are heterotrophs. They are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means which are dependent on other organisms for its own food. For example, autotrophs, they are the one where plants are preparing their own food. Means the organisms which prepare their own food are known to be autotrophs, whereas heterotrophs means the organisms which are dependent on other organisms for its food. Then we call them as heterotroph. So here, protozoa, as it cannot prepare its food, it is a heterotroph. Like examples, we have amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism. Paramecium, then Plasmodium, and last Trypanosoma. And last we have Trypanosoma. So coming to this third type of microorganism, that is protozoa. Protozoa is a plural form, whereas its a singular form is protozoa. It is unicellular in nature, means these organisms are unicellular. These are having only one cell, that is single celled organism. These cannot prepare their food, that is why they are called as heterotrophs. And examples are amoeba, paramecium, plasmodium, and trypanosoma. Alright. Then the next one, that is fourth one, fungi. Fungi is plural form, whereas singular form of this fungi is fungus. So fungi is plural form, whereas its singular is fungus. These are plant-like organisms. These are plant-like organisms. These are saprophytes. and some are parasites. It means these are going to feed on dead and decaying material. For that we call it as saprophytes. And parasites means which is depending on other organism for its food. These are unicellular as well as multicellular. Unicellular means single cell, whereas multicellular means more than two cells. And example for unicellular is yeast, and for multicellular we have mushroom. So this is about fungi. So coming to fungi, it's a singular form is fungus. These are plant-like organisms which are mostly saprophytes, which are mostly saprophytes and few parasites. Saprophytes means these are going to feed on dead and decaying organic matter, whereas parasites means which are depending on other organisms for its food. Then there are unicellular as well as multicellular organisms in this fungi. For unicellular, we have example as yeast, and for multicellular, we have example as mushroom. So this is about fungi, and we'll be seeing the last one in this types of bacteria, that is viruses. So these are the smallest microorganisms, viruses. These are the smallest microorganisms. First thing, microorganisms itself are smaller, and out of that smaller, this is the smallest microorganism. Which one? Viruses. These are the smallest microorganisms which cannot be seen under a microscope. It requires some special feature in that microscope, that is electron microscope. This can be seen under electron microscope. This can be seen only in electron microscope because these are smaller than the smaller microorganisms. The word microorganisms itself is indicating that they are smaller in nature. They cannot be seen by our naked eyes. They are not visible. And out of that smaller only, these viruses are the smallest microorganisms which cannot be seen under a simple microscope, whereas it requires electron microscope. This is clear. This is made up of genetic material coat. This is made up of genetic material, genetic material which is surrounded by a protein coat. So these viruses are made up of genetic material which is surrounded by a protein coat. So means its surrounding is coated by proteins. And then these are going to multiply only in a living host cell. Only in a living host cell. It means it is reproductive. They are multiplying in number, they are increasing its number only in a living host cell. So once it is outside the host, if it is outside host, then it is not going to show any characteristic. So when it is outside the host shell, then it is not going to show any living characteristic. Means characteristics of living thing is not shown when it is outside the host cell. It means only inside the host cell it is multiplying. When it comes outside the host cell, then it is not showing any character of living thing. Fine? And these viruses are said to be neither living nor non-living. Means it is not alive or not dead like this. That shows neither living nor non-living. Fine. Viruses are said to be neither living nor non-living. And example for this are bacteriophage, bacteriophage, and then influenza. These are the examples for these viruses. So viruses are known to be the smallest microorganisms and they can be seen only under an electron microscope. It is made up of a genetic material which is surrounded by a protein cone. These are going to multiply only in a living host cell, and outside host cell it is not at all going to show any characteristic of living thing. Then it is said to be, means viruses are said to be neither living nor non-living. And examples for these are bacteriophage and influenza. Alright students, till now I think we have studied what is microorganism, what is microbiology, what are pathogens, then types of these bacteria, so then types of these microorganisms, that is bacteria, fungi, protozoa, virus and algae. And what are its characteristics, we have seen that. So this completes today's class. We have to keep reading textbook. All right, so what you have to do, the homework for today is write characteristics of first one bacteria, second protozoa, and third it is viruses. So I want you to write in detail about the characteristics of bacteria, protozoa and viruses. Along with this, you also have to keep writing, you also have to keep reading textbook. So another, define microbiology and pathogen. So this is the homework for today. Keep reading textbook, stay home, stay safe. See you in the next class. Thank you.